Welcome, everyone, to the 10th episode of the 792 Florida Sports Podcast. I'm Hunter Williams, and I'm joined by a special guest for a special episode today. Welcome, viewers, Scott from Prep Force. He is one of the national pollsters and also one of the voters that names the national champions each year. Welcome, Scott.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So for our viewers that may not be as familiar with like the national scene and all that, like can you like tell us a little bit about yourself and Prep Force in general?
Yeah, so we've been around. Prep Force has been around for about 6 years. It was actually started, and this ties into that first topic we're going to talk about, but it was actually started to be not only a high school rankings and so forth site, but it was actually built to be a social network for high school basketball and football athletes. And so when we get into the pay-per-play stuff, I can kind of get into that a little bit more. But yeah, so we're known for the rankings. I've put together that expert pick'em contest with some of the guys from 24/7, Max Preps, Florida High School Football, Jeff from High School Football America, Prep Nation, and Prep Gridiron. So that's been going for 3 years, and we're known for our highlights. Our YouTube channel has like over 17 million views. So
wow,
that's that.
I can't even get my YouTube channel to 1,000 subscribers to record games. Okay, I guess since you brought up that college pay-per-play, I guess we'll go ahead and move into that topic right now. I know we talked a little bit briefly, like before when I was like inviting you onto the show, but like just give me like your overall thoughts on that whole issue.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, Prep Force was actually created to be a social network for high school athletes, and I built the system so that I could track the advertising to banners to each athlete's page, and my goal was to split the advertising revenue with them and give them full control of their page, because all of the other big sites right now, whether it be 24/7 wasn't big when I even started this, but 24/7 is obviously very big now. Rivals was very big back then. It is site owners basically hounding these athletes to get information out of them, and then they update the profiles for them, so forth and so on. So I built Prep Force basically as a social network where the kids had control of their own profile. They could put whatever information they wanted. They could put their own videos. They could put when they got offers. They could put, any stats, so forth and so on. And like I said, that was done because I wanted them to not only control the amount of information I got out about them, but I wanted to compensate them and encourage them to share their profile. So I built the system, and I called the NCAA as the parent of a prospective high school athlete. And I asked them basically if I started a page or my child, who was the high school athlete, started a page, could I receive, advertising money from it? And the way I kind of presented it to them was through YouTube, because YouTube it still was very big, but the thing about YouTube is you can monetize a YouTube channel, but you really don't have control over who advertises on the YouTube channel. So there is no kind of, someone can't approach you and pay you for advertising. It's all handled through Google, aka YouTube. So that kind of takes away all the shadiness of it. So, like I said, I presented to them as that, and they said that they would not rule if that was permissible or not until it was presented to them. And I thought that was kind of a cop-out answer. So I pushed them a little bit more and I asked them if they were, familiar with Rivals and all these other big sites that were making millions and millions of dollars off of the likeness of these high school athletes. And they said, yes, they were. And I said, well, that doesn't seem very fair that they can make all this money off of my child, but I am not allowed to benefit off of my child. And there was just a bunch, they couldn't give me a straight answer. It was just a very awkward phone call. And then I finally ended the phone call with, so you're telling me that a friend of mine can make a YouTube channel and do videos featuring my son and make money off of my son, but I, as his parent or him, cannot make any money? And they said, well, that sounds about right. And I said, you guys really don't see the problem with that? And then they essentially hung up on me. So that was kind of when I realized that, the NCAA was just not going to allow anyone to, any athlete to benefit that wasn't basically any athlete to benefit. So from there, I've kind of advocated for this for a long time, just because in my there's tons of big companies, tons of big schools making billions of dollars, and the athletes themselves, many of which, especially in the money, the high revenue generating sports, which is obviously basketball and football, a lot of those athletes don't come from great, economic situations. So, even $100, $200, $300, a couple $100 makes a big difference, in their lives. I knew even with starting Prep Force, even if it blew up, these athletes probably wouldn't be making more than a couple $100 a month, if that. But I also knew that would make a huge difference to them, because I myself grew up very, very economically poor. So that is kind of where the background for that comes from. Now, why I believe it's necessary, other than the simple fact of I believe that anybody should be able to benefit off of their talent. Like, you can benefit off your talent in any other field. You're not prevented from it. And it doesn't, I guess I should say, it doesn't prevent you from, furthering your career. I make the example of, there's an 8-year-old kid on YouTube that opens up and plays with toys that makes over $20 million a year. Why can't one of these 8-year-old football players that goes viral, why can't, they make money? And I know a lot of people are like, well, it shouldn't go that low. It shouldn't go that low. But I think it should go, if you are generating money, why can you not benefit? Like, that at its core is kind of where I stand. As far as how it plays into the actual college and the pay for play, I think what California did was the proper way to do it, which is basically saying that these players can benefit off their likeness. They're not saying that the colleges themselves need to pay the players, which eliminates the whole, you would have to pay the girls' tennis player the same as you would have to pay the football or the basketball player. So that's now taken care of, because it has nothing to do with the schools themselves paying. So, I still don't even think that half the people that have a problem with the pay for play even understand that fundamental difference of it. This is not schools paying. This is allowing any athlete to, for instance, take advertising money from anyone. They are going to, put the plan is, obviously it's far away, but, you're going to have some kind of representation, something that basically allows them to control, who can get involved in this, which I think is also probably a pretty good idea, even though I have no problem with whoever wants to pay, whoever. I do think for people that do have a problem with it, they're like, well, this is going to all of a sudden be the wild, wild west. And, all hell is going to break loose. And this little, this oversight should at least, they should at least like that a little bit. So that's that part of it. As it applies to, one of the big things is it's going to cause, the Alabamas and these big football schools, assuming that everyone can pay, it's going to cause them to be even more, there's going to be even more of an imbalance. But I kind of see it differently because they're already paying them, right? I mean, you have to have your head dug way, way deep in the sand if you don't think these big, super successful college football programs are paying these athletes in some way or the other. We have too many instances where it's been, proven that, it's common knowledge for those, in the scene. Bud Elliott has a great article where he discusses the bag man. And the bag man is basically, the booster or someone tied to the booster that makes sure that these athletes get paid, to go to certain schools or, however it be. So these kids are already getting paid. Why not? Let's bring it to the forefront and let's know, what they're getting paid, or at least make it legitimate. So if they have to pay taxes on it, they can pay taxes on it. There's no more, fear of cheating, so forth and so on. And as I've said before, I think it could actually level the playing field because I think there are rich alumni or rich fans of programs that might not be the big ones that have no problem paying these athletes to endorse their company or endorse their brand or get people to their restaurant or, what have you, that just don't want to go that extra step of cheating. Like, it doesn't mean enough to them to cheat, but if they can help their business and at the same time help, the school that they went to or the school that they're a fan of, I think that they're going to be more likely than not to do that. Now, whether that ends up leveling the playing field or not, only time will tell. But as of right now, we know that there's only certain people that care enough to cheat. So why not try something else? So
yeah, I get I get where you're on the point you're going there. I would also it was kind of interesting to think about. There's only 2 sports currently where you cannot go pro out of high school, and it's the only 2 sports that the NCAA revenue-wise actually profits with: football and men's basketball. Kind of ironic that the 2 sports that the NCAA actually can make money with is the only one you can't go pro out of high school with.
That's pretty much by design. The leagues have a good free minor league system in place. In basketball, it's not as needed as it is in football. And the only reason it's needed in football is just because of body maturation from age, 18 to 21. Because, if you do stick an 18-year-old kid in the NFL, the likelihood, there's a much more likely chance that they're going to get hurt than if they're, 21, have been through a rigorous college weight training program, so forth and so on. So I really wouldn't be in favor of, getting rid of, creating a way for high school football players to go straight to the NFL, just because, like I said, I don't think that I think it could really harm the kids. With basketball, it's not as physical, And while they might not be quite good enough, at least they're not going to have to worry about getting